Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome to Thing 13 from my 100 things that I'm going to use do from stuff in my stash before I buy anything new. Um, these are bats that I made in the past, and then I stored them. And the way I stored them, because of space, is not the way you should really store a bat. And so I squished the air out of them and in a plastic bag. Okay. Now that doesn't damage the wool, but it does compact the light, fluffy bat. See this bat? How this is kind of light and fluffy, and this is kind of smashed. This will not be easy to spin. And I when I made these bats, I made like 10 of them, and I've already spun and done stuff with some of those. I even gave some of them to Hannah, and I had these 3 left over. And then these bats are, this dark stuff is alpaca, and then the lighter stuff is is wool. I think it's the same Corriedale wool that's in this. This has Corriedale and some Targhee, so it's very squishy. But making a bat with alpaca is not easy, and that's why they got run through a couple times like this, and that was pretty much it. And one thing, when you're using alpaca, it's like when you use silk or anything else, you need to put some wool down first, unless all you're doing is alpaca. Anyway, these got compressed as well, which would make them not so easy to spin. And I just had the 3 of them. And then I've got this one that I did as a demonstration sometime. I can't remember who I was demonstrating for, but as a demonstration. So I've just got this one. So what I've decided to do, and you get to see today, is to put all of these things together and make a yarn, one yarn from all of them, rather than 3 different kinds of yarn. Now there's enough of them to make a decent skein of yarn. Same here. This one, is very small. It wouldn't make very much yarn, but this one's like 1.5 ounces or something like that. And then I have probably 4 ounces of this, and I don't know, 3 or 4 ounces of this. So what I'm going to do is put this all together. I don't know what it weighs, but I would guess probably all together it weighs 7 or 8 ounces. And that's a good amount of fiber to spin for one project. So that's what I'm going to do. So this has some dyed wool, and it has some dyed mohair, and it has some silk. It has a bunch of stuff in it. And all by itself, they're very long fibers, and it was not terribly easy to spin. So I think it will help it if I mix it in with these other things. Of course, it's not going to be a smooth, perfect yarn anyway, because I've got so many different fibers. But that's okay with me. I like that. So, in fact, I like that a lot more now than I did when I made these bats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these up into I'm trying to think. I want to put the same amount in each bat. I'm going to pause for a minute. I'm going to go weigh all this stuff and see how much it all weighs together, because I want them to be about 2 ounce bats. My drum carder seems to work well with that. So I'll be right back. Okay. Each of these little groups weighs about 2¼ ounces. And so all together they weigh almost 9 ounces. And so I've split everything so that each of the different bats is representative by the same amount of fiber in each of these 4 bumps of fiber. And then now I'm going to card all these together to make 4 bats. If I can get it all on there in one, we'll find out with the first one if I can get it all on there. But I'm going to move this out of the way and get my carder set up, and I'll be right back. Okay. So we're just going to start by taking, I'm going to take half of this fiber and I'm just going to fluff it out. And then we're going to, let's do with this end where it's, and then we're going to feed it in. And since this has already been carded once, you know, it won't be that difficult to get in here. Okay. And now then I'm going to take some of this, and I'm going to do the same thing with it. Just going to kind of stretch it out like this, and we're going to feed it in. Stretch it out a little bit more here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do this a little bit more, and I'm going to try to put it on like this because I didn't get as much of this fiber on the sides as I did in the middle. Woo! Okay. And now then we're going to take a piece of this with the alpaca and the wool on the bottom. And this will be the hardest one to get to incorporate because that alpaca is really slick. It doesn't have the same desire to, attach itself to everything else that the wool has. Well, it's doing a lot better than when I carded it last time. There at the end, you saw when I stopped pulling on it, it stopped behaving. Okay. And then we're gonna do this one again, this second part of this. And there's not, as much of this, so it doesn't go as far as the other ones, but that's okay. Okay. And this time I think I'm going to put this alpaca stuff in between this and this because I do want it to incorporate in there really well. And we're going to take this bat apart and redo it one time anyway. This batch is kind of messy. Some of it over here. Now see what this is doing? Okay, let's pack it down and see if it'll pull off some more. And it is. It's just taking a while. Okay. Now we've got a lot of it in two places here. That's why it keeps pulling it back off again. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one we did with the other one. And I am probably putting a little more on here than I really should. But it was a lot easier to divide things into 4s than into 5s. Okay, we may not do this with the next one. That was a bad plan. Woo! Okay, let's take some of that off. Let's take some of that off. Okay. On the next two, I'm not going to put quite so much of this green fiber, because there is more of it than anything else. So, alrighty. Okay, now we're going to take off, if I can find the, there it is. I'm going to take this off. Okay. So we're going to have to do that in 2 bunches. Okay. Now then I'm just going to take this and roll the, because I am going to card it again. I'm not going to worry if a little bit of it stays on there, but most of it actually came off. But this is what it looks like. You can see it's sandwiched. And what we want to do now is get rid of the sandwich and turn it into a more incorporated where it's all more incorporated as one bat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this into thirds.
There's one. Actually, maybe fourths. That might be better. There's two. There's three, and here's four. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stretch this out. And we're going to feed it in from right here. Okay, that came a big bump all at once, and I'm not wanting that. So I'm just going to put this back down here. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with this one, and I'm trying to spread it, make the sandwich thinner. That doesn't always work out. Because sometimes the fibers just kind of separate. All right, let's go with the second batch. Oh, well, too late now. I was going to say I probably should have packed that down before I started putting this one on, but okay. You can already tell it's getting more blended, but we still have two more to go. And since I'm going to do 4 of these, I'm not going to show you doing all of them because you don't want to sit here and watch me do 4 of them, because I'm doing exactly the same thing with all of them. Just splitting up the fibers and putting it in. Even with doing everything the same way in the same order with all of the bunches of fiber, I'm definitely not going to end up with bats that look just alike. They will just look a lot like each other. And that gives the yarn a little more personality, I think. Okay. See, I've already got some really heavy right there. And I've got lighter stuff over here. And I've still got one more sandwich to do. I think I'm going to take a little bit of it off, and I'm going to paint that on in the thin spots at the end. I'm hoping that will help things even out better. Okay, see, just too much fiber. It really only wants to do 2 ounces. Okay. Well, let's see if we can feed some of this on where it needs it. And then we're going to go right here in the middle. And I just let it pick up what it would pick up. If there aren't any teeth, it's not going to want to pick it up. So the main thing you're learning today is don't try to put too much fiber on your drum carder, because it will refuse to take it. All right. Okay, I just let it go ahead and pull off what it was going to pull off. I think that's better in the long run to do it that way. Now, there it is. Part of this issue is because some of my fibers are long and some of them are short. And part of it is because I tried to put too much fiber on here. Okay. All right. Oops. This is the bat I've got now. Some nibs. And you can see how it's much more integrated. It's not as much a sandwich. And I think that's just enough integrated to make me happy spinning it, and it's fluffy, so it'll be easy to spin. So, I'm just going to brush that down because I'm going to use it for the next one. Anyway, I just wanted to share what I'm doing for thing 13, which is make 4 of those bats. So, God bless you, and you have a great day.